Should we do that driving thing? Oh no, another one.
Hey bro, I'm gonna be skating in this contest. Can I get a...
Sorry, I gave the last ones to Kozar and he dropped them all over the place, eh? You'll have to pick them up if you want them.
Yeah, I had no concept of Canadian accents at this point. I just thought Canadian. Oh yeah, I do have to get them in one combo. Yeah, I had no concept of Canadians as opposed to. Oh, I need to stop making myself stack Canadian accents as opposed to American ones. I just thought they were all the same. What? Because we had a Canadian teacher at my old school, and apart from a couple of odd words, she sounded exactly like fucking the guys from Friends. Which was like the kind of main American exposure that I had at the time. Now I get it. He went and that's like funny. It's like a joke. Especially if the voice actor wasn't actually Canadian. Oh fuck. Oh. At least they didn't fall over and like draw blood. So at least I'm safe from that embarrassment. Tangible doesn't really help, but it helps my psyche because it's like, well, at least I didn't bail. Ah, I was doing quite well there. I think I've not even felt the need to address the fact that I do dark slides every fucking time. Because it's like, just cut me some fucking slack. It's hard enough trying to keep manuals going for like 4 seconds without bringing like the difficulties involved with long periods of grinding involved. Without getting the long. No. Pretend that sentence makes sense, please, because I don't know how to fix it from here. Fuck. Come on! Oh. What a minor error. I was at a crossroads and I chose the right hand path. There you go. Because I'm not a part of your system. Oh, fuck. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Whoop. That was difficult. I was trying to push out and go into a dark slide to save myself, but I ended up jumping over the guest passes. Not sure what this guy's excuse is for having dropped his guest passes, but I'm not satisfied. Seems like every time I need anything, I need to collect them. Nope, still good. I'm running out of time, but it's still good. Nope. It's gone. Like a boss. I don't know if anyone saw my balance bar at the end of that before I did Dark Slide, because I was just about to stack. Oh, and I got so excited I ruined my manual. Sure, that's like what happens during most sort of skaters, like fucking training. They all go through formal. You need to get your skating certificate before you can be good at skating, right? And when they're being trained by their mentors, they're like, the guy's like, right, make sure when you're manualing, don't get too excited. Just like when you're fucking a woman, by which I mean fucking a woman, rather than fucking like as in a kind of like a X-rated version of the word like when you're actually fucking a woman. Whereas like that, I just realised that could be 2 completely different sentences based on just a couple of commas. When you're fucking a woman is like coming from a guy that used to be a woman, like talking about the benefits of like you know, sex change operations. He's like, fucking, when you're fucking a woman, you get periods and shit. That's not cool. But when you're fucking a dude, it feels really nice because you know, everyone likes penises. So I reversed it the other way. I reversed it that time. Take away the commas, and it becomes, when instead of being a woman, you're actually having sex with them, or a man in that case. But yeah, you've got to try and make sure you don't get too excited when you're fucking a woman. Just like when you're doing manuals. So you've got to think of that one thing that like calms you down in both situations. They probably apply pretty well. Does that make good? If a guy's good at manualing, all the women, maybe that's why those chicks in Hawaii got so impressed by my combos. They were like, fucking, oh, that guy can manual for hours. Bow chicka bow wow. That wouldn't be bow chicka bow wow, because that wasn't actually a pun, that was just a kind of implication. Well, that guy can keep going for hours, there you go. That was a bit more of a pun, or an innuendo. And they said innuendo there. But that only makes sense if people, that phrase only makes sense to people that watch Scrubs. And if you watch Family Guy, people hate Scrubs. I'm not sure why, like, I remember in early Family Guy, one of their random cutaways was like, they were doing a Scrubs thing. They basically ripped the shit out of Scrubs for not being like funny in any way. Or no, for not following the, for not really following the sitcom stereotype of having one guy that does all the wisecracks like Chandler, or you know, is the source of comedy, so like Joey. So, because I remember Peter Griffin just going, yeah, you know that show Scrubs? Which one's the funny guy? And it's like, fuck you, dude. They all get jokes. Like, it's actually like it's like communism. Like, fucking all the characters get a fair amount of jokes. I mean, sometimes they tell jokes in different ways, but I like it. I think it's a good show. Or it was. But I just find it amusing considering the fact that like it seems like the main thing, or at least if you watched Cartoon Wars by South Park, where they just rip the shit out of Family Guy for like an hour, their main way of getting jokes is basically the same as Scrubs, in which like by which I mean they do cutaway gags that make no sense, or at least aren't relevant to the plot in any way. That whole like, if anyone's seen Cartoon Wars by the Matt and Trey, the South Park guys, it's just they just take the piss out of the way Peter Griffin always seems to go, hey, you remember the time when I did that in this random situation with this random celebrity? And it's like, okay, and it makes you laugh because it's like, oh, I didn't see that coming, and that's like a good way of getting comedy. It's like shocking, but not in like a where it's like I didn't see that coming. Yeah, I think that's how a lot of jokes work, isn't it? Like in terms of anecdotes, it's like they tell you a long story and then you're thinking about one thing, and then they go, no, I was actually talking about something else at the end, and you go, oh, I get it. And you start laughing. That's how Family Guy had that going for it. Kind of similar with Scrubs, because it's kind of hard hitting in places. Like people actually die in it and stuff, and it's like shit. It deals with like death and illness and stuff, and that's some pretty heavy shit for a sitcom. But like, they can do proper existential shit by having the proper main character JD have these like they're having the proper main character fucking, it doesn't really matter what his name is, because if you watch the show you know it, and if you don't watch the show you probably don't care. But the main character has like random he daydreams a lot, and they show them. So they instead of cutting away to like, remember the time, or it'd be almost as ridiculous as if this happened. Someone will be talking to JD and then he'll just kind of drift off, and this crazy sort of dream sequence will come out, and they'll get comedy from that. And it's like, I just find it funny how that like this one show was attacking another comedy show for not being funny, or at least, you know, not being funny in a specific way. I mean, granted, they didn't say who does cutaway gags. That'd be lame, because that would have actually been a funny criticism, because that would have been like what's it called when self-deprecating humour. Like, who the fuck does cutaway gags? They're not funny. But no, they were just having a go because they weren't a part, like Scrubs wasn't a part of your fucking system. Like, it's not balls to the wall fucking laughter 100% of the time, but show me a goddamn sitcom that is. I think it does alright. Or did alright. I need to pay attention. And yeah, like fast forward to a couple of years later, and it's Family Guy being destroyed. But instead of being in one random like cutaway gag or just like random aside, it was like a whole fucking hour of legitimate like plot-based humour. Because I think that's the main point of like, because Cartman really hates Family Guy. That's like the plot of the 3-episode special or 2-episode special. And the reason he hates it is because fucking none of their humour is actually based around what's happening, or it seems like a lot of their humour is based upon someone just going, "Hey, you remember when this happened? Wasn't that wacky?" And it's like, rather than all the jokes that Cartman makes, which are all like relevant to what's happening in the episode. course, now I've just evolved into describing Family Guy, South Park episodes taking the piss out of Family Guy, and a bit in Family Guy where they take the piss out of Scrubs. And Scrubs, I've been talking about that as well, so yeah. Who needs TV critics when you have me to incoherently babble about 3 different comedy shows for a good 10 minutes while I try and do this goddamn thing? You're literally welcome. Which is actually a catchphrase of a fairly deep and recent wrestler into the fucking WWE. Talk about that for a bit now, because fucking everything's fucking up for grabs now. I've talked about bronies, I've talked about ponies and shit. I've talked about wrestling. No one cares. So I've actually got into wrestling, like, because when people my age were actually into wrestling, it was a good. That was like 10 years ago. A little bit late to the party. Like I was like, fucking, why do you like wrestling? It's fake and gay. But that's why it's entertaining. Because like boxing and that really doesn't, and even like MMA doesn't interest me. Because I mean, yeah, it might be genuine, but you know, I prefer watching 24 than I do watching documentaries about like law enforcement. I prefer watching fucking CSI than I would about really watching, at least not as often. Maybe I'd watch a few like forensic science things because I think everyone finds that interesting. Another random aside before I go back to talking about why WWE is good. Can I just take a moment to lol at everyone? After, because apparently after CSI came out and got really popular, uptake for like forensic science corners, like criminal forensics courses in at like universities just like exponentially went up. And when before, like I'm sure it was probably fairly competitive back in the day. Before like CSI made it super duper popular, like to be a forensic scientist. No. It was fairly competitive, but like now, when there's like fucking like probably about 200, 300 jobs in the whole of America, and probably about 50 in like England, based on forensic science, and it's like, what are you going to do at university? And it's like, forensic science. It's like, fuck. I mean, because they say like, I think I've heard jokes in various comedy shows, because that's pretty much all I ever watch, saying how like, basically making the joke that if you've got a university degree in like social studies or like something like that, like sociology or whatever, then it's pretty fucking worthless. Or like, you know, certain courses that just like don't have any real application. Like they're literally the least vocational jobs that you could ever think of. Like I used to say the same thing about history, but you know, you can be a historian. And if you're not one of them, then you're pretty fucked. I think it's the same argument I'm about to make for this, so I won't spoil it by making that argument or like expanding upon it because I'm getting there. Give me a minute. Fuck. Yeah, fucking like 300 jobs or whatever in America and 50 in England, and I heard that in Britain alone, like there was like a rise from like 50 people maybe at the most doing forensic science at university, or like maybe even like 30 in a year, goes all the way up to like fucking like more than 5,000, and it's like, wow, really? The numbers might be even more skewed than that, but I don't want to like sensationalize it by making up a number that would be like really high, because I'm not sure, but I'm pretty goddamn sure that it was more than fucking that. In my head I've got like hundreds of thousands, but that might only be in America. But still, like fucking, just so many people, and it's like, yeah, no, I want to do that. That'd be a really cool job to do, and it's like, fucking good luck, mate. Because now everyone wants to do it. You're gonna have to be pretty goddamn like A, dedicated, and B, fucking exceptionally talented to fucking get where you need to go. To the point where that's like more useless in my head than like sociology degrees, because at least you can fucking spin them. You can be like, oh, I know, you know, you can put me into like management because, you know, maybe you've got some like minor fucking experience working in a fucking shop to pay for college or university or whatever. And you can combine that with your like sociology degrees to say, I understand people, you can, you know, put me in charge and I'll, you know, keep morale high and whatnot. But fucking if you've got a degree in forensic science and you're trying to get a job like in fucking an office or just like a random management position in any company. It's like, you know, what fucking qualifies you? You know, I'll be sure to fucking enlist you and fucking pay for materials and whatnot if I ever feel the need to find out who's been stealing my sandwiches out of the fucking communal like mini fridge. But considering the expenditure that would be based upon sort of doing that and the illegality, I'm guessing, that would be involved in sort of employing someone to use those skills in that sort of context, probably best to pass you over and find someone that's got some fucking even slightest bit of relevance.